Welcome, Kumas, to another reaction. You're here with Kuma! This time I am reacting to the top unused executions of Danganronpa 1 by Weeby Newz. Now, before you go apeshit and start tweeting Weeby and going, "Oh my god, Kuma stole your video," I asked her and she was cool with it, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be in the comments section laughing her ass off, I hope. So, I'm not stealing a video. I asked her if I can react to it. So, guys, just chill the fuck out. Just chill the fuck out. Now, I have been bombarded with requests for anime requests, and I will be doing those. So the anime requests are closed at the moment, but one-off videos are open. So feel free to request any reactions in the comment section below, as well as check out the Discord channel where I do have a thread for reactions and threads for shitposting and just about everything else, and that's where I hang out when I'm not filming anything. So thank you, Weeby, for letting me react to this. I am excited because I have heard and read about the unused reactions, but I haven't really watched your video, and since I haven't watched it, I might as well react to it. So I am possibly going to be stopping after every top unused execution and maybe discussing it a little, or maybe discussing throughout, I don't know. But if I stop every 2 seconds, I'm gonna have to edit the crap out of the video, so please excuse the quality of editing. I'm not really used to editing reaction videos. I'm more used to gameplay videos, which I do on my gameplay channel, which is Ninja Kuma, and this is the Ninja Kuma Reacts channel where I react to everything. So if you're interested, go check out that channel. That's where I play Danganronpa 1, 2, Ultra Despair Girls. I will be live streaming V3, and this is the channel where I've reacted to Danganronpa 3. So anything that is non-gaming is on this channel. Everything that is gaming is on the reaction channel. I mean, gaming channel, if that makes sense. If you're a programmer, that's going to be easy for you to sort of put in your mind, but if you're not, you might be a little bit confused. Okay, let's just get started without any more talking, otherwise everyone's going to get pissed off at me. Alright, here we go.
Hey guys, Weeby Newz here. So today I'm going to be doing a video on the unused executions of Danganronpa 1. I decided to split it up into 2 videos instead of putting it in just like one top list, because I wanted to talk about all of them, since I'm sure there's some of you out there that haven't seen all of them yet, and I wanted to make it into a top list because, well, top lists are fun, in my opinion at least. So with that being said, I will be talking about all of the unused executions of the Danganronpa 1 characters, and I'll be ordering them in my personal preference, 1 being my favorite and 10 of course being my least favorite. Although I will say I don't really dislike any of these. There's just some of them I find like a bit odd thematically. Also with ordering these—
Wait, I just paused it at 42 seconds. When you say your favorite, do you mean like you're happy that this person is getting executed? Or do you mean you like the style of this execution? Because it could go either way here. Alright, I'm gonna hit play at 42 with the Monokuma smashing the tower.
Some are based on more like analytical or deep reasons, and others are just like completely my personal preference. I will try to add something of value with each number, but a lot of this really is just my opinion, so keep that in mind. And as always, feel free to list your favorites in the comment section below as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So as some of you guys may know, the unused executions are basically alternate or what-if situations. These execution summaries are included in the Danganronpa fanbooks, and although there is no official art for these executions, the popular Pixiv user Orima has done their own renditions for a majority of these executions, which I'll be using in the video. If you'd like to check out the rest of their work, I will link their Pixiv account in the description below. But let's go ahead and move on into the list. Number 9 on this list is Yamada's execution, and it can be noted that his execution is the only one that's not in the game that still has an official art source, which is from the Danganronpa 1 demo manga. The demo manga mirrors the actual demo of the first game in the way that Hagakure is the first victim, but of course in the manga you actually get a blackened, and it so happens to be Yamada. It's called Watch Out Buko Great Monster Invasion. The execution is described as a gigantic Princess Buko comes flying to a place where enormous Monokuma is riding at. Both start fighting. Yamada, who is stuck between them, is being hit from both sides. At the end, he dies when being hit by a certain kill beam from both simultaneously. Like I said before, I don't really dislike any of the executions. There's just some of them, like this one, that I find a bit odd or I'm not super crazy about compared to a lot of the others. I've never been been a very big fan of Yamada though, so I'm probably biased by putting this as the last one. But I felt like Leon's execution was a way better way to kick off the game and emphasize the severity of the killing game and the situation that they're all in. So I'm really happy that Leon was the first executed and not Yamada, just because I feel like this execution wouldn't have been nearly as impactful. And I don't think I would have been nearly as excited for the game when I saw it as I was when I saw Leon's execution. Next up.
Okay, I just paused it at 303 at number 8. Did you see the Monokuma with the 2 controllers? Doesn't that remind you of something? Ultra Despair Girls? So there was an idea to do a massive Gundam or robot style thing with a controller like that from Danganronpa 1. That makes me think that that was a concept that Kodaka came up with and then he used later on in Danganronpa 3. Wow, Kodaka, how much far ahead did you plan this, man? But it is true. Leon's execution was very quick and it did sort of kick off the series very well, in my opinion, too, because it was sort of, I mean, even in the first episode of the anime, which I watched before I played the game, it was sort of like, okay, we've got this typical trope of anime. We've got the completely average, brown-haired, short, he's not alpha sort of guy, and then you've got the potential love interest being Sayaka, that is this beautiful, attractive girl that's the center of attention, but for some reason likes the protagonist, even though we can't figure out why, and then Danganronpa's like, yeah, we're hitting all the tropes, bam, she's dead. Who killed her? And then Leon ended up killing her accidentally, non-accidentally, whichever way you want to take it. There is a manga for that where it was an accident. I think he was trying to get the knife off her, and during that struggle, she ended up sort of lunging forward and getting stabbed. So it wasn't technically murder, but, you know, he did try to clean up and fucked up, so... But it did kick off the series. I fully agree with that. I don't think Yamada's execution would have worked as the first one because it would have been too overboard. It would have been too big as a first execution because the way I see it is every single execution got more and more over the top. So the first one was Leon getting hit by a baseball throwing machine. Yeah, it's vicious. Yeah, it's painful. But it's nothing over the top. You know, you could get one of those in real life or get 6 of them and just beat a person to death with them. It's not a huge thing. Whereas the Cage of Death in the second one, okay, that's a little bigger. And then you've got Celeste's one where they hit it with a fucking fire truck. Like, this is getting more and more extreme. And then you've got, like, Junko that just goes through all of them like crazy. So, I agree. Definitely, it did set the pace a lot better than Yamada's execution would have. But that being said, I don't think you had anything against Yamada, so I'm curious to see who number 1 is. Okay. Let's not nitpick too much, but I'm loving the editing so far. I am loving the I could see the hours and hours of work put into editing this. I am very impressed.
On the list is Sakura's execution, and it is called The Deciding Match of the Whole Galaxy. Sakura is standing in a wasteland. An army of aliens appear and surround her, manipulating the atmosphere. Even though Sakura successfully defeats them one after the other, the enemies don't stop appearing. Eventually, it becomes too cramped, and she dies by the pressure of being buried in their bodies.
What a boss!
So if you keep up with my channel, you probably know that I really love Sakura. Honestly, really think she should have been a survivor over Hagakure, and the low placement on this list has nothing to do with me disliking her as a character. I really don't have much of an opinion on the execution. I just kind of find the alien part to be a bit odd thematically. The whole scenario reminds me a lot of Pekka's execution in a way that we could see her martial arts skills really in action, which I think it would be really cool to see that again because we get a small glimpse of it in the game and in Danganronpa 1 the animation, especially since you get to see a little bit more of a fight sequence. But since she would be taking on a whole army, I feel like we could really see her skills in this and it would be really interesting. Again, the only downside is I'm not really sure I understand the alien choice or the her being buried alive choice. I sort of assumed that she would get an execution that would match maybe more so about Kenshiro or her family or something that just more obviously relates to her past. But that's just my opinion on it. Next up is
Okay, so 432. I absolutely, oh my god. Yeah, Sakura, I wish she did survive. But it's pretty funny that both Hagakure and Sakura have something to do with aliens. I don't know what's with Kadaka and aliens, but I do know Hagakure, after trying to harvest Makoto's organs to pay off a debt, he does have a little thing where he talks about aliens taking his beef burger or something, and then he's pissed off about it. But I don't know what's with the theme of aliens, but I think her execution showcases what a boss she is. I mean, she's so good that the only way she died was she killed too many aliens, and she died because she was just, like, buried in bodies. It sort of reminds me of Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but season 6, towards the end of it, has a scene where there is literally a battle that results in piles and piles of bodies just being crammed, and like soldiers are literally struggling to get out of this pit of bodies. So that sort of gives me an idea of what Sakura-chan would be able to do on her own. But she's such a boss. If anyone deserved to survive from Danganronpa 1, it would have been her. But I did really like that Junko did give Sakura-chan a statue in the funhouse. She called her Ogre, which is... but she's such a boss. She's a boss. She's a boss.
Is Tegami's execution. The title is Human Disqualification. Byakuya would have been dropped in a garbage can, which would fall into a place that looks like hell. Monokuma, dressed like an elementary student, would repeatedly throw stones at him for supposedly being a dirty hobo. Tegami would try to escape, but he would have come out in a cold and snowy place and eventually die from his wounds and hypothermia. But I actually do like this execution because I do feel like it has more symbolism regarding his character than some of the other ones. Although I don't remember anything about elementary school being very important in Tegami's life or regarding his past, unless I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me if I am. But I do think the part about the dirty hobo could probably refer to his fear of being a failure, since in his free time events he does mention that in his family, the head of the family actually couples with several different women and creates many different heirs, all with different mothers, and that these heirs have to battle in order to become the successor. He states that they were 15 at the time of his battle, and that if you don't become the winner of this, then that you are exiled from the family, and that this outcome is just as bad as facing death. So to me, in this execution, showing hell and him being a hobo there could symbolize the outcome of him potentially losing that battle and being exiled from his family, and how essentially being this hobo or this failure in his eyes is equal to death. Or I could be entirely overthinking this whole thing, but that's what I got out of it. Next.
Okay, 608 paused. I love how there's just ramen on his shoulder. In Danganronpa 2, if you spend free time with the ultimate imposter that dresses up as Byakuya, one of the things he does say is that the wealthy, I don't know, he said something along the lines of, the wealthy, you don't know how many wealthy people get overweight as a result of fast food. And the reason why he has so much body fat on him is what would happen if he couldn't get food and he would die of the cold or hypothermia. So I think that is a reference to Byakuya's unused execution in Danganronpa 1. I just sort of realized that because the ultimate imposter, the vibe I got from his free time events on my Island Mode Let's Play was that the reason why he chose Byakuya Tegami as the person he wanted to become is because he idolizes him so much. And what doesn't add up to me is if Byakuya had 15 people in his battle, you know, to be the ultimate, why did the ultimate imposter mention 120 or 115? He mentioned a large number. I don't know if the imposter was in the same group as Byakuya, possibly, or if he's just sort of completely looking up to Byakuya from external, because it would make sense for the ultimate imposter to be a part of that battle, having lost, being sort of cut off from the family, but as a result, he idolizes Byakuya because it's who he looks up to. He sees him as being the most successful, the most capable, which is why he wants to impersonate him, because that's the person in the world he most wants to be like. Which is kind of sweet, but at the same time, it's really harsh, because he only became the ultimate imposter because he lost his identity because he was born into this family where you either are on top or you lose everything you have and you're nobody. And by becoming nobody, he became the ultimate nobody by pretending to be Byakuya Tegami. which is a cool concept. Kadaka, what drugs have you been on, man? Kadaka, man. Get a hold of yourself.
Next up is Asahina's, and her execution is called Water Illusion Show. Asahina is put in a water tank. From above, Monokuma, dressed as a magician, appears and waves his staff. A curtain falls, raising again with a drum roll. Many sharks can be seen in the tank surrounding Asahina. Once again, Monokuma waves his staff and the curtain falls. As the drum rolls and the curtain rises, she isn't in the tank anymore because she had been eaten by sharks. I like this execution as well, and honestly, I don't have like a whole lot to say about it, but I think it is a really good execution based off of the theme of her talent, and I feel like I have sort of a bias to prefer the executions that are a bit more realistic, and I know none of them are really realistic, but more realistic compared to Uwada's execution where he got turned into butter. So I prefer it more so because of that as well. Next up,
702 turned to butter. I still don't understand how that works. I would have thought they would have given her... Well, she's not the ultimate... Wait, does that spoil V3? Because the girl's like the ultimate magician or something. Maybe her execution would be something along the lines of getting cut in half or getting pierced by an arrow or the water tank escape and it goes horribly wrong. But for Asahina, getting eaten by sharks... What the fuck, Monokuma? It's like I wouldn't just let her there to suffocate to death and drown. No, screw it, I'm putting sharks in a tank. Because I'm Monokuma and I have an unlimited budget. Who pays for this shit? Sorry for the rant.
Is Yasuhiro Hagakure's execution, which is called Quiz Time. I heard there's a chance of 30%. Hagakure is a contestant on a quiz show set. Before him, there are 3 doors labeled A, B, and C. There is a 1 in 3 probability that 1 is an execution. Hagakure tries to enter the A door. The door grows hands and feet and escapes. B does the same thing. The only door left is C. He isn't willing and a mouth appears on the door and eats him. I really like this execution as well, but similarly to the Asahina one, I don't have like too much to say about it. I honestly just really liked how the execution mirrored his talent in the way that he has a 30% correction rate, while in this he has a 30% chance of running into an execution. So I honestly just thought that aspect of it was really cool and creative. Next up,
756 paused. That's clever. But I could see why, you know what I mean? I mean, compared to some of the other executions that we saw in the game, it's like... It reminds me of the Mono Beast in Ultra Despair Girls where you just open the wrong door. Do you remember that? Oh, did I just spoil it? At the end of Ultra Despair Girls, how you have 3 doors, and if you open the 2 wrong ones, bam, you get eaten. So, I like how Kadaka is using all this material that's been unused and is just sort of recycling it, because it's a good idea, but, like... You know what I mean? It makes me question, did he plan out multiple installments of the series ahead of time? Because my theory was that when his original concept got shot down for being too dark, he toned it down by making it more anime, more sort of relatable, more sort of acceptable in Japanese society. And now that it's sort of going more and more mainstream, he's getting more and more back to the roots of what he originally wanted. Because Kadaka, I wouldn't say grew up, he's older than me, but he loved the Saw franchise. And that is also a franchise that I absolutely loved and adored in high school when I was studying drama. When I did Macbeth, I was actually in charge of doing the music and some of the theming for the stage production at the NIDA Theatre that we were doing, which is pretty cool. And a lot of the themes I actually borrowed from Saw. So whenever I play the Danganronpa games, I sort of sometimes pick up on the themes and ideas where I got them from in Saw. So... in my mind, a lot of the things that he's doing now, particularly in Ultra Despair Girls, how it's getting darker, more and more abuse, it's more going back to where he wanted to start the game off in the beginning. So I'm starting to feel that every installment in the franchise is going to be progressively darker and darker, because originally his concept got shot down because it was too dark. But now that these concepts are getting approved and they're getting bigger and bigger, there is an actual audience. So originally there wasn't an audience and no one wanted to fund his idea. Now the audience is getting bigger and bigger and they want to fund his idea. So I think the way he's going to end the series is going to be with his original concept. It's going to be so dark and poisonous that it's just going to be messed up on a level that, for me personally, it's going to be amazing. But I think some people are really going to go, holy you know what I mean? Because, I mean, I grew up in high school watching... I've seen a lot of shit in my youth. But I get the feeling of where he's going. And a lot of people are telling me V3 is going to be a complete mindfuck. There's going to be so many dark elements. It's getting darker than Ultra Despair Girl. I'm like, yeah, I see that coming. I see every little series, installment in the series getting darker and darker. But I'm starting to feel like a lot of these installments and a lot of these shocks might have been planned before. This might be from his original concept, which got shot down. And now, in every installment in the series, he borrows a few of these ideas. But I think he's keeping the best for last. So I'm a little bit excited. Just a little bit excited. I want to see where this roller coaster goes. Do not spoil V3. You spoil V3, I'm putting you in a cannon.
Is Chihiro Fujisaki's Unused Execution, which is Super Fujisaki Bros. It's described as Fujisaki is put inside an 8-bit side-scrolling game. A group of huge pixelated Monokumas would appear behind him as he tries to run. Eventually, they would catch up to him, causing Fujisaki's sprite to pop out of existence. Honestly, I really love this execution, and although I am usually more biased towards the realistic ones, I still just absolutely adore this one. I love the Super Mario Bros. Reference, and I just felt like overall this would have been a really creative and cool execution to see in full animated action. Although I am really happy that Fujisaki never actually killed anyone because he's just so sweet, I couldn't even imagine it. Next up is Fukawa's execution, and it is called First Kiss Prank. Toko is thrown into complete darkness. In the distance, Byakuya can be seen, so she begins to run towards him. Suddenly, a huge roller appears between the two of them. Though Toko tries desperately to escape, the roller catches up with her and presses her paper thin, killing her. I've always really loved this execution, and I think the imagery is really cool, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like a vision of Byakuya or if it's actually supposed to be him, but I like to imagine it's actually him watching from the sidelines as she's going through the execution, and that if this was to happen, you would see that wall between the remaining survivors and the Blackens sort of break. When playing the game, to me, it always felt like the executions were sort of like this separate entity from the rest of the story, so I always really love seeing the other characters' reactions to the execution or seeing interactions with the other characters in the execution because it made it feel all the more real to me. And I really like this execution because I could really see that sort of wall breaking and these types of interactions happening with her and Tegami. And honestly, the rest of the characters' reactions to it as well. Number 2.
Okay, paused at 9:56. I just noticed something. First Kiss Prank in Ultra Despair Girls. Toko reveals... No, wait. No, she doesn't reveal it in Ultra Despair Girls. She reveals it in her free time events in Danganronpa 1 that the reason she hates guys so much is that she confessed her feelings to a guy and he posted that letter on like a bulletin board in school and she was absolutely devastated as a result. And I think that's when Genocide Jill or Genocide Show or whatever you want to call that alter ego was really born or unleashed. And so this execution on a way is a little bit psychological in that element because she's crushed by something. Yeah, she's a writer, but she's crushed while chasing towards her love. It's a little bit poetic in a sense. And I'm now starting to think, are these executions not just sort of, fitting for the characters, but they're sort of based on the fears of the characters too, in a sense. Or they sort of play on the characters' sort of psychological, I would say, weaknesses or soft spots. Because we've got Byakuya, who, doesn't want to be a failure. He doesn't want to be poor. It's a fear. His execution plays on that. Munda's Cage of Death plays on that. Leon, something getting killed by baseballs. Maybe he had a fear of getting brain damage or something from a baseball. Plays on that. The classroom execution, I don't know how that sort of works, but I'm starting to think the executions in one way or another, yeah, they are fitting for these characters, but they might also be playing on the fears of the characters, as well as pain for the characters. I'm not sure. That's just something that popped into my head while I was watching that, and I was like, hang on. So it might be true, it might not be. Maybe it's a last sort of ditch thing to, torture the characters, because I know Celeste loved Maria Antoinette, but she was the one that they tried to chop her head off, right? They tried to chop it off with an axe first. They chipped off part of her head. It didn't work. And then they used the guillotine. But in her execution, they burnt her alive. which I would say is a lot more painful than just getting your head chopped off. But then again, her head wasn't chopped off. Part of it was chipped off, which would be even more painful until they get her on the guillotine. But then again, the French weren't exactly known for being humane. So that idea popped into head. I don't know if it's real. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but that's just an idea that popped into my head. And looking from this image of Sayaka dancing and there being a freaking bear trap, watch Saw. If you haven't watched Saw, you gotta watch the Saw franchise. Saw 1 and 2 and 3 are the best. Saw 1 is good. Excellent plot twist. Saw 2, I love it. I know every single piece of dialogue to that movie. I've probably seen it 50 times.
On this list is Mizuno's execution. Her execution is called Sayaka Mizuno's final performance. It's described as Sayaka is placed on a stage with the form of a giant bear trap along its edge. She is required to sing in order to fill the score meter until
Celeste.
it's full. However, just as the meter is about to reach the highest score, Monokuma destroys it, triggering the failure condition. This causes the giant bear trap to slam shut, killing Mizuno instantly. I just think the imagery is really cool in it, and the struggle you can imagine as Mizuno tries to sing for her life would have been really creepy and honestly kind of cool to see, in my opinion. And to see her killed as the star she had worked so hard to become is very fitting for her, and I think it could be very emotionally impactful as well. And
Alright, I just paused it at 10:44. I think I know where Kadaka got the idea for that execution, besides the bear trap being from Saw 2, but I think in Saw 4 or 5, there is what is called the angel trap. If you guys know what it is, it's where a person more or less fulfills the condition in order to survive. But then as soon as they fulfill the condition, they realize that the trap itself is made such a way that it doesn't matter. It's going to kill you in the end. It's an unwinnable thing. So in this case, Sayaka is about to win and live, but Monokuma's like, nah, fuck it, this is not how this game works. You die anyway. So that's what I mean by I see these little references, Kadaka, or these little ideas and inspirations where Kadaka's getting them from. He really loves that franchise. My god, if I could meet Kadaka, holy shit. Could you imagine having a movie night with Kadaka? He's like, hey, Kadaka. He's like, yeah. He's like, I heard you love horror movies. Like, yeah. Have you seen Oculus? No, I haven't. We're gonna watch that shit, man. It's got plot twists like Saw. You'll be like, holy shit. I would watch horror movies with Kadaka. That would be fucking amazing.
And the number one execution on this list is Kiyotaka Ishimaru's execution, which is called Prime Minister Kiyotaka Ishimaru's inaugural parade. Kiyotaka sits on a vehicle and answers people's cheers in the middle of a huge, gorgeous parade. The crowd has posters that says things such as, "Hooray for Prime Minister Ishimaru." In the next moment, Monokuma pops up resembling Galgo 13, a fictional assassin, and kills him with a shot through the heart. This execution is definitely by far my favorite out of the unused ones from the first game, and although I do love this execution, I'm very happy that Ishimaru never actually killed anyone. I really can't imagine him being a killer unless it was an accident or a setup, and honestly, if that happened, it would have broken my heart, so I'm really happy it didn't happen. But with all that aside, I really do love this unused execution, and the main thing I love about this is how closely it relates to his free time events and how it highlights his insecurities before his death. So in Ishimaru's free time events, he talks about how he believes one must work hard to accomplish goals, and that being called a genius is an insult because he believes that they are lazy people that don't deserve what they get, mostly because his grandfather, who was called a genius, was at one point the Prime Minister of Japan. But he was also caught in a huge scandal that shamed and cost his family a ton of money to this very day. So seeing Ishimaru get executed in a way that resembles the life of his grandfather, who he is very offended by and is very offended to be called a genius or anything resembling his grandfather, and whose mistakes are the prime reason as to why he acts the way he does, was really impactful and a really good creative choice. Also, this execution actually has a full fan animated version to it as well, so if you would like to watch that that version, I will link it down below.
Yes!
But that will conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry it took so long to get out. I had a lot of technical difficulties while trying to make this video. Was also moving into my new apartment while making it, and I think that sort of halted it a good bit. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. I am sort of more settled now into my own place, and my schedule is a lot better this month than it has been like for the past 6 months. So I'm hoping that means I'll be able to upload more to the channel and do live streams again as well, and post more than 3 videos a month. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to leave your favorite unused executions in the comment section below, and I will see you guys real soon.
Subscribe to Weeby News for more hope-filled videos.
Oh my god, it's the bagel! No, but yeah, exactly what you said on the Ishimaru execution. The execution is not only sort of appropriate for Ishimaru, but it also is a sort of slap in the face for everything that he stands for, because he doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of his grandfather, but his execution is sort of going on that. It's bringing him up to his happiest moment, and then bam. So that's why I feel that all these executions in some way are torturing or playing on the soft spots that characters have. Now, that was an awesome video. I absolutely loved it. I am going to be linking to the original video in the description, Weeby News' channel. Go take a look, go subscribe if you haven't already. This video is awesome. I am going to react to the unused executions of Danganronpa 2 as soon as I finish my free time events with Nagito, because I'm going in completely blind for Nagito. I haven't done his free time events personally yet at all, so it's going to be my island mode video where I do his free time events as well as his island mode events. So I'm not going to risk spoiling that by watching the unused execution video too, where there might be some info on Nagito, because I'm sure there's an unused execution for Nagito, because the bastard killed himself, and that does not count. I still have it out for Nagito because of that. I know a lot of people give me shit. They're like, you misunderstand Nagito, you don't understand Nagito. But the thing is, he was a dick in the funhouse. He pretty much fucked us over in Trial 5, and he's got to take some responsibility for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, Weeby, for letting me react to it. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. I hope this is going to be the first of many reaction videos I do with you. And if you do want to, feel free to grab any of my videos from the gaming or the reaction channel, because if you ever did an analysis of me, I might be a little bit scared. I would be a little bit scared, but feel free to do whatever you want like that. I would be very excited to see something like that. I'm going to put all the links below. I do really want to see that fan animation for Ishimaru's execution. I will track that down, and I will possibly see that if they let me use it. Feel free to put any reaction requests below. Be sure to check out the Discord channel, and be sure to subscribe to the Ninja Kuma Reacts channel to get more reaction videos, and be sure to subscribe to the Ninja Kuma channel to get more Let's Plays. I release Danganronpa every single Monday. We are going to be doing a V3 live stream if the fiber optic does get laid down in time. They keep delaying it. The Australian work ethic is a joke. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a like. Be sure to share with your friends. Hit me up in the comment section below. You'll find me in the Discord channel. I'll see you then. Ninja Kuma out. Bye.
Let's begin! Don't just the culprit!
Well, that's settled. Let's go home.